Chapter 544, Threat. Professor agreed with Lumien's suggestion, believing it could help verify certain things. Both professor and associate professor went to another team and found Stonemason, who was known for crafting mystical items. Dressed in a doctor's white coat with a saucepan over his head, Stonemason's azure eyes focused on the Academy warlocks through two specially dug holes. He nodded and said, "Recently, I've also been having strange dreams related to a wilderness. However, in addition to the endless wilderness and wandering figures, there are also some peculiar scenes in my dreams. As expected, it affects the neighboring pathways of Mystery Prior and Savant." Lumien nodded slightly as Professor pressed further. "What scenes are they?" Stonemason's voice echoed within the saucepan. "I see scenes of primitive humans independently creating fire for the first time, ancient humans making sacrifices to the sky and land. There were many similar scenes, but they were very vague. I was in a dream and couldn't scrutinize them carefully. I can't remember the exact situations clearly. According to the Savant Pathways Beyonders, this is a fragment of civilization." Upon hearing Stonemason's response, Lumien's forehead twitched imperceptibly. It reminded him of the moment he heard a peculiar sound accompanying scenes while wearing the mystery prying eye in Fourth Epoch Trier. As the scenes unfolded, a chorus of voices echoed one name, Celestial Master. Was what I received a fragment of a civilization? The Eye of Truth correspond to the Mystery Prior pathway. Upon their use, they activated the powers of neighboring pathways, revealing corresponding sounds. But there is a prerequisite, a special environment. Fourth Epoch Trier holds remnants of advanced powers from the Mystery Prior and Savant pathways. Celestial Master. The term is similar to the celestial worthy of heaven and earth for blessings, which influences seer, apprentice, and marauder pathways. Meanwhile, Celestial Master correlates with the Mystery Prior and Savant pathways. Lumien fell into deep thought after his initial shock. Franca glanced at him, perplexed by his limited participation in the discussion. After a moment, Lumien snapped out of his daze. Considering Professor, Stonemason, and others' speculations, he carefully stated, "The sudden downpour in Trier is an outward manifestation of a catastrophe, much like the Deep Valley Cloister. I suspect that a high-level power leaked during the catastrophe, affecting Beyonders from two neighboring pathways. The impact is more pronounced for those in Trier, but relatively minor for those outside." At this point, Lumien smirked. "I've observed that warlocks outside Trier experienced significant decreases in the frequency and clarity of their wilderness dreams. Strangely, none of the warlocks in Trier mentioned this." Bear in a brown bearskin suit nodded approvingly. Professor and others concurred with Lumien's hypothesis, relieved that the situation was indeed improving. They couldn't help but marvel at Muggle's remarkable growth after surviving the April Fool's trap. Franca then inquired about the owner of the ancient tomb beside the crazy mushroom cave in Trier's catacombs. No one knew the answer. The warlocks in Trier offered to assist in the investigation, but there were no guarantees of finding anything. Franca had already entrusted this matter to Seven. Her current focus was on uncovering any mirror people who might have infiltrated the curly-haired Baboons Research Society, thanks to Lumien's teachings. After agreeing on the reward, she left the Academy team and headed towards Hela. After discussing the mirror people situation with Hela, Lumien emerged from the corner where the Academy team was located, ready to gather mysticism knowledge from the Death Domain with the Purgatory team. Franca immediately approached Lumien, lowered her voice, and asked with a smile, "What were you thinking when Stonemason recounted his dream? It seemed like you had thought of something important. Hadn't I shared what I saw and heard after using the Eye of Truth underground? That shouldn't be the case. I won't forget sharing matters involving the Celestial Master with Franca." Lumien's heart suddenly stirred, feeling that his spirituality was hindering this matter. After a moment of contemplation, he responded, "It's rather complicated and involves high-level powers. I'll write to Madam Magician later and see if I can share it with you." "All right," Franca said eagerly. "Don't forget." Her curiosity was piqued. At that moment, Hela, still dressed as a Black Widow, approached Lumien and asked, "Any progress in tracking Ultraman and Bard?" Not at the moment. I'm still compiling the necessary information, Lumion replied truthfully. Helen nodded slightly and replied, "If you need assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to me or Gandalf." The primary objective for most members of the Curly-Haired Baboons Research Society was to eliminate the April Fool's traitors. Got it. Lumion had no plans to confront the key members of April Fools on his own. Undoubtedly, it was optimal for him to carry out the final execution. Upon returning to the real world, Lumion noticed that night was falling. He set out a stack of late-night snacks for Ludwig and summoned Madame Magician's messenger. After freshening up, washing his face, brushing his teeth, and snuffing out the wall lamp, he settled into bed. Just then, a sense of alertness surged through him. He sat up suddenly, focusing on a specific spot in the room. Outside the window, a faint crimson glow shimmered. In one corner, a shadow swiftly expanded, reaching up to the ceiling, forming a silhouette resembling two goat horns. It was as if a devil had emerged from the dark abyss. Lumion's eyebrows twitched as he stared at the colossal black shadow. The devil-like shadow resonated with a deep and imposing voice. "Lowly human, you must answer my question truthfully." It spoke in Intijan. Lumion cracked his neck gently and asked, "What's the question?" The devilish figure rumbled in a deep tone, "What did the Paco family's Georgia hire you to do?" Lumion chuckled. "What do human affairs have to do with a devil like you? I'm a professional adventurer. I won't betray my employer." The devilish shadow growled, "Then I'll use your blood as the answer." Before it completed its sentence, its aura surged, and the crimson moonlight in the room instantly succumbed to darkness, shrouding the space in a chilling aura. The corners of Lumion's mouth curled up. With a swift press of his left hand, he catapulted from the bed like a cheetah, propelling himself towards the ceiling. Overhead, darkness enveloped him, resembling an abyssal reflection. In a sudden twist, Lumion's body turned pitch black, almost zero in thickness. He morphed into a shadow creature and seamlessly melded into the darkness. Within the dimly illuminated fishnet of shadows, Lumion spotted the devil. Standing just over a meter tall, the creature was child-sized, yet its skin was creased like that of an elderly man in his 70s or 80s. Its disproportionately large head featured protruding eyes, presenting a grotesque visage that was beyond Lumion's knowledge of creatures. In the form of a shadow, Lumion swam toward it, aiming to ensnare the peculiar creature that manifested the devil's projection. He planned on pulling it out of the darkness and controlling it with the spell of Harumph. Many of Lumion's abilities were constrained in the shadow creature form. The short, malevolent creature with wrinkled skin appeared defenseless against the shadow's entanglement, surprising Lumion, who had anticipated fierce resistance. Without hesitation, he prepared to depart, leaving the shadow to detain its captive. Just then, the darkness surrounding him brightened, illuminated by the light from the sky. Instinctively, Lumion looked up and witnessed the pure darkness rapidly dissolving, unveiling a colossal star hanging in the void. The star bore a faint blue hue, resembling a demonic eye. In an instant, Lumion felt his blood freeze, involuntarily snapping out of his shadow creature form. The big-headed, shorty, adorned with wrinkles, seized the chance to break free from its constraints, swiftly merging into the pale blue starlight and disappearing from sight. After a moment, Lumion fully recovered. He stared at the now-normal room, sinking into contemplation. What in the world was that thing? It seemed so weak, yet it came to intimidate me. Nevertheless, the blinking star held an air of peculiarity. Why not just send the star to fright me right away? After suppressing me, it didn't seize the opportunity to attack. Even though I regained some mobility upon escaping the shadows, I was still relatively slow, Lumion mused silently. While he couldn't grasp the full picture, certain details became apparent. No wonder Georgia didn't casually enlist a foreign adventurer with beyonder powers to handle the humanoid lizard. Someone lurking in the shadows would interrogate me about the entire matter in the future. Only a renowned adventurer like Louis Barry, capable of hunting demon warlocks, can resist it. Heh, earning 15,000 risat isn't a walk in the park. The one in the shadows knows Louis Barry isn't weak, so they didn't dare to attack directly. Instead, They dispatched a small monster with unique abilities to intimidate me, hoping to extract information. Why not go to George's house and ask? Their family doesn't seem to possess any superpowers. Is this an internal conflict within the Fisheries Company and the Fisheries Guild? Yes, it's an opportunity to interact more deeply with the Paco family and understand the core process of the sea prayer ritual. Shaking his head, Lumion reclined on the bed and resumed his slumber. Around 8 a.m. the next day, Lugano, who had gone out to buy breakfast, rushed back and said to Lumion, "Boss, those combat nuns are looking for you."